Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about 4-link rear alignment. So I've done some reading and I got it all set up where we're going to measure the 4-link and make sure the diff is centered, make sure it's aligned, make sure it's centered sideways, lengthwise, and we're also going to adjust the 4-link bars, but let's get to it. So I rigged some stuff up here. Let me get the tape measure to show you. But basically what we're trying to accomplish is making sure that the axle is square with the body, with the chassis. So the axle has to be obviously level to the chassis. That way when you launch the car, obviously the car goes straight. So what I've done is I have these two levels. You can either use an aluminum, maybe box iron or something that's perfectly straight. I figured I have two of these and they should be perfectly straight. So I got one on each side and I clamped them down on the lug nuts so they're nice and tight. I also used a string. Let me show you on the other side, since there's more light. So I used a fish string that goes through. So if you see here, it's tied here. It goes through there and it's leaning on the hub, and it's got this little weight here. So there's a little string here. I don't know if you see it. You see it here? So what that does is it's telling me kind of the edge of the axle hub, kind of where the measurement is. Because we're going to measure from here to the chassis bar, to the lower bar, and make sure that that distance matches the other side. And then also we'll have to measure over here. I have to measure here and make sure that the diff is sitting in the center of the car. Because the wishbone there in the middle, this is the wishbone here. This is what centers the diff in the car, so I can adjust these rod ends down there, right there. I can adjust those rod ends, and that will move the diff either further that way or further this way. Okay, so that's what this is for. So I'll show you a little bit how it looks. So we're gonna go from there to here, and we got about 27 1/8, maybe a 16th. Sorry, 27 1/16, right? So let's go on the other side. Make sure it's the same. Get comfortable here. So we said 27 1/16. So again, I'm putting in the same spot, and we got about same measurement, 27 1/16. Kind of hard to see on the camera, but I already adjusted it, so I had to adjust the wishbone to get the right measurement. So 27 1/16. So now I know that the axle is exactly parallel to the chassis, right? So there's no preload here, zero preload on both bars. The diff is resting on the ground, and I know that the diff is exactly parallel to the chassis. So when the car launches, it should go dead straight, unless the chassis twists obviously and it pulls over to one side. But we can do that when we adjust, maybe put a little preload on this top bar, and we'll put more weight into this wheel. But we can check that later. We're gonna try to run the car as neutral as possible. The roll bar is gonna be neutral. Everything's gonna be neutral. Okay. So now we want to make sure that the diff is sitting in the center of the car, right? So we're talking sideways now. Is the diff that way or is it this way? So that's gonna be this way. So I'm gonna use a measurement on the 4-link there. 4 link bars, and I got let's go this way, and I got 10.5. It's hard to see on the camera, but it's exactly 10.5 inches from the 4 link bar to the edge of the bar, right? So that's mimicking the hub here, right? Because it's resting on the hub, it's tight. So I know that this from the 4 link bar is exactly 10.5 inches. So let's go on the other side. Let's make sure that that's the other one's the same. And there you go, exactly 10.5 inches, right on the dot. So now I know that the diff is square to the chassis, so the 4 link bars are exactly the same length. It means it's not twisted this way, right? So it's exactly straight to the chassis. And I know that it's centered right to left, right? So now, I mean, when you put the wheels on and everything, you want to make sure that everything's centered and squared, right? So the right length, the right width. Yeah, so that's basically how you do a rear alignment on a 4 link, because obviously this is not IRS anymore, everything's adjustable. So it's kind of cool. I learned a lot from Tim McCamus watching his videos, so I want to thank him. Gotta make sure that the anti-roll bar is neutral. Again, the bars are gonna be neutral. Yeah, so that's a 4 link alignment. And I forgot to mention, first, before you do any of this, you want to make sure that the pinion angle is good, right? So what I do is I put my angle finder here, see the angle here, and I put an angle finder here with this being straight like this, and then I lift the diff. I lifted the diff about halfway, because that's exactly where probably is going to be applied most power. And I just put my phone there, and I measured the angle on the drive shaft and the angle on the pinion, and exactly when the diff is in the center, that means that the shock travel is going to be around the center. We want 0 there, so we can do it actually. Let's try to do that. So let's jack it up. I already set that up. I hope it's still the same. So that's about halfway. It's about halfway. Let's grab my phone. I have an angle finder on my phone. Now I adjusted the bars, so it might have moved. I have an app that's called Angle Finder. So let's see how it looks. So right now, so the drive shaft, oh, stupid phone. The drive shaft is at 1.3, and I'm trying to do this, and the pinion is 1.2, 1.3, 1.2, right? So see, yeah, so you adjust that by moving upper bar or lower bar, so that's going to move the pinion angle of the diff. So I already adjusted that, and I wanted to target where when the shock is about halfway, the pinion angle is exactly at 0 degrees, because that's the point where you're going to apply most power, like maybe a second into the run, 1.5 seconds. The shock should be extended halfway, and that's where we're going to toss all the power at it. I did notice that whenever I lower the diff or it's fully extended, there's about let's check it out actually. So let's lower it, lower it back, and now we can check the pinion angle. I know it changes. Let's make sure the pinion is straight here. Let's grab the app again. All right, what we got? So we got I got 3.6 and I got 5.1, 5.2, 5.1. So that means there's 1.5 to 1.6 degrees of angle there when it's down, and when it's fully up, it's actually the same thing. So it moves about 3 degrees across the whole travel. So if it's fully up, there's an angle of 1.5, it's fully down as 1.5, and right in the center is when it's exactly 0. And that's what we want as far as I know. So when you're applying all the power, that pinion angle is exactly at 0. Now, let me catch my breath a little bit here. What else? So 4-link bars, I'm not going to tell you the number that I set them at, but as you can see, it's very aggressive. We're going to try this first. It's a very short instant center and not very high. The reason we did that is so that when I launch, the 4-link is going to react very quickly. I have the Tim McAmis software. Power this thing up. I can show you, but we'll wait till this fires up. I got the Tim McAmis Chassis Master, and it's very nice software. A big tire there, massive. I'm actually going to take those tires off and I'm going to put some used ones thanks to Otis. So we're going to take it on the dyno on Wednesday, and I want to put it on the new tires, so I got some used tires. I got the Tim McAmis Chassis Master here. I won't show you the numbers because it's kind of I don't want to share, but you basically enter all the information on the car and it tells you the front bias. So the front bias of this car is 61% in the front, 38% in the rear. So then you put you have to measure all the brackets and the holes, and it basically tells you where the instant center. But we're going for a short instant center and not very high, so that way it reacts as quickly as we can. So that's basically it on the 4-link. The car is basically done, ready for the dyno. I filled the CO2, I filled the nitrous, so it's basically ready to go. So all I'm gonna do is make sure that the 4-link is all set up. So when we go on a dyno, swap the tires. I changed the oil. The filter was perfect. There was nothing, no shit in the filter, so that kind of nice to see. Yeah, I use this oil. I use Pen Grade. I really like this oil, 2050. Sometimes I use 50 straight or 2050, whatever they have in stock. Yeah. So she's ready to go. I actually need to re-torque the head. I think I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I gave it a good heat cycle. I'll re-torque the head, and we'll do the next video for Wednesday. So we'll take it to the dyno. I'll take some video on that. All right, guys. Thank you. Take care.